Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc.
Guyana's opposition calls for government to resign after no confidence vote loss. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Friday, December 28 from the CMC News Center in Bridgetown. I'm Ricardo Roberts. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. A week after Guyana's coalition government lost a no confidence motion, opposition leader Bar Jagdeo is calling on the David Granger administration to resign. He made the call Thursday even as government explored its legal options following the vote in which one of its own members, Chantras Prasad, sided with the opposition People's Progressive Party, the PPP, for the no-confidence motion to pass 33 to 32. The result will trigger an election within 90 days. Jagdeo insists that the Constitution of Guyana outlines that the government must step down.
We believe 106.6 is quite clear of the Constitution. It says the government shall resign. The ministers, the president, the prime ministers shall resign upon the passage of a no-confidence motion. The no-confidence motion has been passed. It's certified as being passed by the Parliament, the clerk of the National Assembly. They should have resigned now. The 106.7 confers on them caretaker responsibility now for the next 3 months. You can only enter into Parliament now. There could be no National Assembly, routine business in National Assembly. How do you pass laws now or discuss anything of substance when 106.6 says the cabinet shall resign?
Jagdeo said the opposition party has been made to understand that the government is exploring 6 options to challenge the constitutionality of the no-confidence motion, but he insisted there are no legal options to explore, and he said the PPP has written Chief Justice Roxanne George Wilshire asking to be heard in any ex-parte matter being filed in the government. Now, late on Thursday, the government issued a statement indicating that the cabinet had received a report earlier in the day from a special legal subcommittee on the matter with recommendations. It said cabinet discussed various options and took certain decisions on the way forward. It did not reveal the next step, but said the coalition government would pursue all available options and act in the best interest of all Guyanese. Over in Dominica now, the main opposition United Workers' Party, the UWP, is calling on the government to end the practice of requiring Haitians to pay a $400 bond to the Immigration Department when they arrive in the island. The bond is refundable upon legal departure from Dominica within 1 month of entry. But the UWP said in a statement that the practice is discriminatory and an unpardonable act, as it is not imposed on citizens of any other CARICOM member state. Now, Haiti belongs to the 15-member regional grouping, and earlier this year, the Barbados government said Haitians would no longer require visas to enter that island, in keeping with the unanimous decision taken during the CARICOM summit held in Jamaica in July. Also coming out of that summit was a unanimous decision that Haitian nationals would be entitled to an automatic stay of 6 months upon their arrival in any CARICOM member state. Barbados could soon be welcoming another American university to its shores. Prime Minister Mia Mottley revealed Thursday that talks with Chamberlain University have already begun. She made the disclosure during a tour of the villages at Coverley, a community where 1,500 students and staff at the Ross University School of Medicine will reside when the school opens or begins operations in January, 5 months after leaving Dominica. Motley said the government was using Ross as a test run.
We haven't spoken about the work that we're doing already with Chamberlain University, which is the nursing school, and we're looking to see how we can ramp up that as we go along. But we want to perfect what we're doing with Ross first, while at the same time having the conversations between the Barbados Community College and Chamberlain, because as you know, the government of Barbados is already in the provision of nursing education. But we feel through partnership we can deliver better and more, especially given that there's a global shortage of nurses that we experience in today's world.
Grenadian legislators on Friday described as unfair demands by the European Union that the island repeal several pieces of legislation required for establishing international business. Grenada is among several countries blacklisted by the EU in 2017 as having harmful tax legislation based on EU claims that their citizens use these pieces of legislation to avoid paying taxes. Last week, the lower house began the process of repealing 4 pieces of legislation that the European Union has described as harmful tax practices. But when the matter came up for debate in the Senate on Friday, President Chester Humphrey, as well as government and opposition legislators, said there was a need for a grown-up conversation with those who are making the repealing demands on states like Grenada. Attorney Kathisa Williams described the request from the EU as a sign that imperialism is alive and well, and the colonial masters will do everything to stop the development of former colonies. A junior minister in the Ministry of Climate Resilience, the Environment and Information, Winston Garraway, said the demands from the EU are pressure and punishment on small island states that have found an alternative way to develop their economies. The new measures repealing the pieces of legislation go into effect on December 31st, 2021. Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, projections of a bright 2019 for regional tourism. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Exceptional fun, meet amazing people, enjoy fantastic food, and rock the nights away to world-class music at the 23rd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival. 3 nights of musical entertainment from the 27th to the 29th of June 2019. Book now and save the date. For more information, log on to stkittsmusicfestival.net. St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other.
The Caribbean Tourism Organization, CTO, says the outlook is bright for regional destinations in 2019, but it is urging stakeholders to approach the new year with a degree of caution since there is still much work to be done. In his New Year's message, CTO Secretary General Hugh Riley said the organization is optimistic because it is seeing signs that the laws which Mother Nature imposed on regional countries during the latter part of 2017 and into 2018 were being reversed. He said the CTO is also hopeful that the progress of member countries and supporters can continue unabated to maintain the momentum they developed since the storms of 2017. Riley said there are also other reasons to be pleased as tourism accommodations are being rebuilt and reopened, airports are receiving their full schedule of flights with the return of airlines in full force, and the diverse product offerings within destinations are being restored. But he also noted that while preliminary data revealed increased demand for travel to the vast majority of the 24 reporting CTO member countries, the region's performance was still down in 2018. The Royal Grenada Police Force says there was a 5% reduction in total reported crimes for 2018. In his end-of-year message, Police Commissioner Edwin Martin said the police also maintained a 74% crime-solving rate during the year. He added that lawmen are now placing a greater emphasis on sexual offences and domestic violence, among other crimes.
Other notable achievements in 2018 also included the first conviction under the Electronic Crimes Act and the launching of the Special Victims Unit, which seeks to bring greater focus on sexual crimes, domestic violence, and child abuse. We have also seen significant seizures and arrest of perpetrators for illegal narcotics, the net effect of which was a debilitating impact on narcotic trafficking and organized criminal activity within our jurisdiction.
Over in the Bahamas now, where National Security Minister Marvin Dames says authorities will step up their efforts to crack down on repeat offenders who continue to wreak havoc on society. He says this is part of lawmen's efforts to reduce overall criminal activity in the country.
Or no matter what it is that you seek to do to try to rehabilitate them, they are just not for it, okay? Those are the individuals that we need to isolate and get off of our streets. And come 2019, you're going to see an even greater impetus to do just that, because we're hoping to have a much better year than 2018. And as you can see from the numbers, the Commissioner would have mentioned, I think 8 years ago we had 94. We're at 89, 90.
And ahead in Newsline Sport, a former West Indies captain holds out on little hope of the Caribbean side winning next year's ICC World Cup in England. Stay with us. Sport is next.
Barbados, renowned for its pristine beachfront and fantastic weather, continues to leave quite an impression on newcomers to the island and returning visitors. The Caribbean island, quite popular as a vacation hotspot, is not only beautiful due to its natural aesthetics. The island of Barbados continues to grow in popularity because of unique connections developed with our people, our culture. We can't wait to welcome you.
Legendary former West Indies captain Sir Vivian Richards has held out little hope of the Caribbean side winning next year's ICC World Cup in England. He identified the hosts, along with 5-time winners and reigning champions Australia, as among his favourites, but overlooked the struggling Windies. About England, Sir Viv said it is a good team that has played well in the past, but has always fallen short at the last moment. West Indies are ranked 9th in the ICC one-day rankings, a position that forced them to play a qualifying tournament last March in order to reach the May 30th to July 14th tournament. But they must improve on their ODI form, winning just 3 of 11 games this year in bilateral series. Now, more glaringly, West Indies have not won an ODI series in 4 years. So Viv, a member of the World Cup winning sides of 1975 and 1979, said he was hopeful the Windies would improve their fortunes. The Antiguans starred in this 1975 final with 3 run-outs just months following his international debut, and also headlined the 1979 final with a memorable unbeaten 138. Ex-West Indies leg spinner Robert Haynes is set to become interim head coach of Jamaica Scorpions. The 54-year-old replaces Robert Samuels, who was sacked following the Scorpions' opening match of the regional 4-day championship when they went down by 40 runs to Barbados Pride in Bridgetown. Scorpions franchise chief executive Courtney Francis confirmed Haynes was due to link up with players on Thursday following the Christmas break. Haynes, who played 8 one-day internationals between 1989 and 1991, has previously coached the Jamaica under-19 side and also served as a West Indies selector. He will now oversee the Scorpions' preparation for their 3rd round encounter against Windward Islands Volcanoes starting next week, Friday, at Sabina Park. Now, Samuels led Scorpions for 2 years after taking over from Junior Bennett, but failed to oversee a championship-winning campaign. Now, Scorpions' stunning defeat earlier this month when they were bowled out for 65 when chasing 107 for victory prompted Samuels' dismissal. And switching sports now, Jamaica's budding rugby star Michael Facey is aiming to raise his country's flag high at next year's Rugby Sevens in Hong Kong. TVJ's Simon Preston reports.
Michael Facey had a year to remember. After making his debut for Jamaica in the Commonwealth Games, he became the youngest player to score a try in the history of the Rugby Sevens World Cup. Adding to that, the Caribbean Maritime University students scored a tournament record 8 tries to help the Crocs retain their Rugby America's North Sevens title.
2018 on a whole for me has been wonderful. Different experiences gained from every tournament that I've played, and it's building me both mentally and physically as a player and bringing me out more as a man now towards the world so I can impact and move my country forward in the sport.
And that's Sports TV. We'll be right back. And that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sports round the clock, log on to cornernews.com. For more of our programming, log on to caravision.tv and check out our YouTube channel. We'll be back here on Monday, but from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching. Have yourselves a good night.